Is our planet the only one capable of producing life? Have we been the only ones in the vast expanses of the universe, or are there others? Beings far more advanced than us. Are they trying to communicate with us, warn us, or have plans to endanger us? The idea of aliens has fascinated the minds and hearts of humanity for many years, though alien life has been somewhat normalized through science fiction. Fascination with life that may exist outside of Earth does not end. Conspiracy theorists, common folk, even scientists, like Carl Friedrich Gauss, who suggested building 116 feet square mirrors to beam messages to the moon, where he supposed aliens lived, continued to remain fascinated with extraterrestrial life and how it may look. We are Goran and Alex. Welcome to Divination Detectives, where we hope to bring clarity, information, and ideas through the use of our psychic abilities and divination tools. If you like what you're hearing, give us a like and leave us a comment with your favorite alien story.
Yeah, this is a fun topic, eh?
Yeah.
Very fun. And I do just want to say our little disclaimer, as we always do, this is for entertainment purposes only. And we have all respect for the humans involved and extraterrestrials involved. And this is for fun and for our own curiosity, and hopefully yours too. The alien story that I wanted to talk about today is really interesting because it's very mysterious. We have, I don't know if people have heard, but the CIA, the US government, recently in the past year have released a lot of sealed confidential documents. Okay. And so one of these documents came to light, I think it was back in April 2025. The core information just comes from this one document. So lots of mystery here. Is it true? Is it not true? Where did this come from? And the gist of it is the CIA got this report from the KGB, or AKA Russia, AKA Soviet Union. I believe at the time it was 1993, and it was the Soviet Union at the time, I believe. So what happened? Okay, so this is the story. Okay, and we're gonna ask questions and try to see, is it true? What happened? What are their motives? All the things, right? So the story is there were some intelligence, military people doing an exercise, okay? Routine exercise. They're shooting off weapons, practicing whatever they do, right? There was this UFO that came, okay? So what they said on the file was that it was like in the shape of a saucer and that it didn't appear to be any of their aircraft. And it just kind of showed up above the military unit that was doing this training. And somebody decided to shoot a surface to air missile at the saucer. Okay. And it hit it. So once the saucer fell down to the earth, this is where things get crazy. Okay. These creatures apparently came out of the saucer. There was five of them, and they were humanoid. So humanoid to me means shaped like a human, but not exactly a human. So they had large heads and large black eyes. So it's stated in the testimonies, because there was miraculously two soldiers survived this and were able to tell the stories. So the testimonies from them had said that after they kind of came out of the sphere or out of the ship, the beings joined together into like one big ball of bright light. And then what happened was this object, it just began to buzz, a super long, like buzzing, hissing noise that grew really loud, and the ball grew bigger and bigger. It kind of did like this, from what I understand, it was like this big burst of light. And then what does it say? The object began to buzz and hiss sharply and then became brilliant white. In a few seconds, the sphere grew much bigger and exploded, At that very instant, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles. Only two soldiers who stood in the shade, so they were not directly in the light, they were less exposed to the light and they survived. Okay, so imagine you see this crazy thing, like, what the heck is it? One of the soldiers is like, well, I'm going to shoot at it. And then it falls down. You have these creatures pour out of it because it must be damaged. And then the creatures turn into a giant ball of light and turn everybody to stone. And you have somehow
Oh,
survived to live to tell, the next
damn.
day to tell it.
Star
Um,
Trek Next Generation.
Very, I know. And the KGB report goes on to say that the remains of the UFO and the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret scientific research institution near Moscow. So there is possibly this evidence sitting in the world somewhere. So that could be one of our questions, kind of looking in like, is the craft somewhere? Are the bodies somewhere? It's pretty vague after that. It just kind of says like KGB were basically saying that the aliens were attacking them. This type of weapon is basically unfightable.
Yeah,
And I think it scared the bejesus out of them a little bit to come up to something like that, especially them, right? Like they were such a powerful military for many, many years.
yeah,
And in an instant, it feels like, imagine like how quickly this would have happened. And all of their soldiers are turned into this petrified stone. Basically, like the stone, I think when they were testing on it kind of thing, they said it's almost like limestone in its consistency. So it's like kind of like a rock, but softer type of rock. And that's basically all we have. Very interesting indeed. I don't know if there are other languages, like maybe there are Russian articles when this happened, like maybe there is more information out there, but for us English speakers, we just have this one CIA report that was like, oh yeah, by the way, this happened there. And this is the report we got from it. So very interesting. What
well,
do you think? Like, what could we ask about this?
this is wild. I guess the answer to what this experience was is like, I guess it would be retaliation, right? That's a no-brainer. I don't think we have to ask
Yeah.
into that because they're literally just hovering, doing their own thing, and then somebody's like, "I'm gonna shoot you down," and you're like, "What the fuck, dude? I'm just trying to, discover this world here, just do a little bit of hover action, and then just do my own thing and fly away." And you're like, "Kabam!" And I was like, "Oh fuck!" Now we battling, we getting
Yeah.
you, petrified because what the fuck, dude? Leave us alone. I guess the question I'm wondering, them turning into like a ball of light. What I'm wondering is, was this aliens like the actual aliens coming together or their technology doing that, and it sort of appeared to like their literal bodies were coming together to the people that were viewing it because they're so advanced? Because I'm like, are they
Mhm.
capable of just like becoming a light? And at that point, are we talking angels, and or are we talking energy entities that are just like glowing and shit? Because throughout history we have glowing creatures like deities, spirits, different things, right? People mention that historical nations, civilizations talk about creatures of light. Are those aliens then? Because that's,
Yeah.
I think that could be the next thing. Like, are they,
Yeah. I didn't think of that part, but you're right. Like maybe these things have been seen before, like doing this same process. And yeah, we would have said, oh, look, an angel, you know?
quite
Yeah.
literally, yeah.
I did shuffle a few cards and I have my yes no cards and angel answers or is what it calls is called. And I was asking like, did this happen? And I did get the big yes. I mean, you could probably check that on your pendulum too.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what was the intention? And I got this card that's an oracle card. It says appreciation, but it was upside down, reverse. It's that, yeah, I don't appreciate what you just did. I mean, that's very clear to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
If
I
yeah,
mean,
it's kind of like, well, listen, we're here for I mean, the aliens, I believe personally, come here for many different reasons. A lot of the times, I think they're monitoring us to make
mhm,
sure we don't blow shit up and nuke the whole planet. And because there have been things in the past where there's a lot of sightings around nuclear facilities and during the wars when they were dropping nukes on places, like there were alien activity. And I believe I even read a story where they have deactivated a missile one time, like one of them just shut down, and nobody can explain why.
mhm.
So if they were doing some kind of operation and they have these missiles, like it is perhaps they were kind of just checking up on them and making sure, everyone was safe, is how I usually picture aliens.
Yeah,
So but it's like if you fire at them, I mean, it's amazing that they actually got hit because I would think that their ships could detect that or move or whatever, but possibly they were in too close to the earth, too much in the 3D that they were caught off guard.
mhm.
But we definitely did not appreciate it. And they were just like, we're going to show them who's
Yeah,
boss, and you
yeah.
can't do that to us.
True, because I think what I'm asking is like, where was this like a surveillance thing for the aliens, for little
Mhm.
guys up in the sky or big guys, depending on what we describe them as. And it seems like this was a scouting type mission, just basically trying to detect different things on Earth, possibly even be looking at like minerals or looking at different kinds of metal that you would find within Earth's core, or just natural elements that they are interested in that could be actually a part of their infrastructure for technology. Because what I'm seeing in my mind's eye is also crystals being used as part of technology. So almost what I got is like a huge fucking shit of clear codes. And I think Crystal Girlies out there would love this, being a part of that machine, glowing and just emanating vibrations that actually help navigate through the ship. I think for our geeky people out there, it's almost like it's affecting the vibration, or it's allowing them to move at the speed that they're moving, or basically transition through different dimensions and do like dimensional jumps, is what I was getting.
Mhm.
A little bit
Yeah.
out there, but that's the visual that I'm getting. So it almost feels like they were quite literally looking for crystals. So we have a lot in common. we go
Right.
we we go bond over a nice piece of clear quartz. No worries there. In regards to the question whether or not this was like technology or was it like their own like bodies or whatever, it seems like this would have been their technology that is almost like it seems like a part of them, an extension of them, rather than like we have a computer and we have, microphone and you have your mobile phone, right? That you take into your hands and you use in some sort of way. And for them, it seems like technology is part of them, sort of
Mhm.
like a Robocop, part, a living thing, part robot, but it's not necessarily that. It because it's not robotic. It almost feels like it's
It's
very
it's
much
um yeah, it's like
vibration.
organic, like an
Yeah.
organic
Yeah.
like suit almost. If even if you think of like us humans, we're a soul living in a human body on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, yeah, some of these bodies that they've basically, created them over generations and generations and eons, and I think into the future. And yeah, it's almost like they have their technology and their body as the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like their body is technological. So that
Yeah.
that makes sense to me because it kind of confirms how I picture them and how like the vibes I get from a lot of the stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the Four of Swords. So like I was like, what was their intention? You're like they were fact
Mm-hmm.
finding. I was scouting. I believe it was just they stumbled upon this group. And if you think of Siberia, like that is very barren, not
Yeah.
very densely popular or not densely populated. So there would have probably been spots where these aliens were regularly visiting or didn't expect, I don't think they expected to see anybody there. And then what was the intention of their reaction? I got the Five of Cups reversed. So they got hurt and they had to do what they had to do because I believe they didn't want their technology to be captured and or their bodies. And the two survivors were not supposed to survive. This was kind of like a last ditch effort to kind of make things right after being hurt. And maybe they were actually injured too, the aliens.
Yeah, it feels like it was this sense of protection because I asked, and I'm interested what you get on your end in regards to what happened afterwards. As we
Okay.
talked about, there are potentially being remains of the soldiers, right? The not crystal, but rocks, sculptures that remained of them, but their petrified bodies remaining, and possibly alien technology. And what I'm getting is that there is a part of their technology that remains, yes, and the bodies as well. The actual aliens as beings do not seem to be here. And fairly interesting, they left what they wanted to leave because I'm getting the Seven of Cups, right? And in particularly in this one, I'm what I'm seeing, right, and I'm showing you, Alex, like you have this
Mhm.
person, but then you have this like spiritual thing that's like an apparition coming out of the cup, right?
Yeah.
Or out of the orb that she's holding, and it feels like what was left behind is this like a ghostly thing rather than the actual physical thing. To me, when that translates, is they left a part of that technology that is completely insignificant, that cannot be used for anything, and that possibly can also not be powered or used or put in a situation where we could replicate it because there is either no power source, there is no way for us to figure out how it works because it is a different type of technology or even get it started. So there is something left, but it's almost like they left something, but it's as though they have left nothing because it genuinely does not is not able to serve a purpose because it doesn't have its source with itself. It doesn't have the sort of like the power core or whatever else you want to deem it as. And interestingly enough, I also got the Ten of Pentacles with all of this. And it seems like the group in itself was a bit more protective because it almost feels like there would have been like a family, not necessarily like, oh, we're out on a field trip and we're going to Earth. Some of them might have been related, and there is this almost like familiar type of protectiveness and defensiveness, if that makes sense.
Mhm. And I wonder too, when you were just talking about like the shell of the ship that they left, I wonder if their bodies, the actual bodies of the aliens, powered the ship. You know what I mean? It's a little
Yeah.
matrixy, right? Because human
Hmm.
bodies generate energy. I
True.
wonder if that is kind of how the ship ran. Like they need to be in it or they need to be joined to it in order
Okay.
for it to run.
Pendulum's out, let's say.
All right.
They definitely have to be in it for it to work. It's not just their energy. Like they don't have, I think they don't have enough like internal power to keep a ship going. It definitely requires their like energy signatures and for them
Okay.
to be on board because it feels like it's part physical and part metaphysical. Metaphysical in the sense where it's almost as though the ship responds to their thoughts and to their intentions.
Oh, yeah.
So when we're thinking of a steering wheel, what I'm getting as a visual is like the alien might place a hand on like this big piece of rock that I spoke of earlier, like this big crystal. The rock is connected to it. He's connected to the rock, and back and forth, and shit powers up. And then he
Hmm.
basically thinks of, I want to go forward, I want to go up, I want to go left, I want to go right, I want to do a quantum
Okay,
jump,
yeah.
and that's how it does it rather than having like a huge steering wheel and it's like, oh, now we finagle this around. I would
Hmm.
not necessarily say that they are the source, but it does feel like their energetic signature is absolutely necessary for the ship to even run. So if a human
So
went
yeah, it's
into
like they're
that,
not they're not the power source, but they're the programming.
yes,
If you
there
want
we
to look
go.
at it that way.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Divination Detectives is a duo that does more than talk about the hidden and the unexplained. We offer a unique experience of a tarot session where we delve into what your future holds, what you may experience, guiding you towards the path that will get you closer to your goals. There are spots available for the autumn sessions starting in September. Discover what awaits you this autumn, how to maximize your effort, and where your energy is best spent. You can DM either of us or send us an email. All the links are in the description box below. The card that I got too, like that, I think this ship is being studied or was being studied by Russia because I got the Eight of Pentacles reversed. And to me, like that's Virgo energy. It's looking for the details and it's really like taking things, trying to take things apart and, see how they work, see how they run. But also because it's the Eight of Pentacles, they're trying to master this technology. They're trying to steal it. They're trying to learn from it,
Mm-hmm.
which I think, that's a pretty common theme, I believe, with any military that, any technology they get a hold of that they don't already have. So, I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all.
The
But
idea
I
is to
wonder,
advance the military capability, right? And
yeah.
the destructive power of military. That I think that's always the ultimate goal, where we can protect the state, protect the country, but also have the best, the biggest, the strongest weapon, the biggest pistol on the block. And just be cocky about it and swing that shit around and be like, you can't do anything because we the top dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
And I think it was a big cover up too. Like that's the other thing I was kind of asking, like what happened with the family members of these soldiers? Like they wouldn't have had a body, they wouldn't have been able to have a proper funeral. They probably had some story about it. And I got the Queen of Wands reverse. So I just feel like with her, there are a lot of things like bubbling under the surface
mhm,
and the government would have, yeah, pushed it under. I think paid people off to stay quiet because if you're talking about, I think it said 20 people that were
mhm,
petrified, like that's a lot of work to do to keep that quiet, to keep that under wraps.
quite literally. Particularly when you have witnesses as well. Because
Yeah,
they aren't gonna stay quiet unless you
forever.
off them, right? Which would be the
Yeah.
only option where it's like, I'm gonna ensure that you're not gonna tell a living soul about this. Otherwise, they're
Mhm.
gonna say something at some point. At least
Yeah,
one of
I
them.
agree. So yeah, that's really cool. I don't know if there's any other questions we could ask.
Well, I am one of the ones that I thought of that is related to this is do they just visit or are there ones that live on Earth? That was the one that
Ooh,
I'm interested. Because what I'm also thinking, as far as like military and stuff like that, and I don't know, that's a very strong yes. So they are among us, quite
oh
literally. That
yes.
the way the pendulum is swinging is like I want to do like a full circle with this pendulum, the way it's swinging. What I was thinking of is the Arctic Circle, and I think we touched on that briefly at one point, or we just chatted privately about it. I'm not certain.
Mhm.
What I keep coming across as far as stories go, because it quite literally is like a huge wall, right, of ice that you have to cross over, and then apparently it's just all ice and nothingness but frozen water. But apparently, the first expedition ever to the Arctic discovered that after that initial wall, there was greenery, that there were plains of grass and trees and buildings and beings that were looking very similar to humans, just taller. In some accounts, apparently talked telepathically. It's fascinating how, when we talk about the accounts, like something will eventually come out, somebody will talk. That's why I bring it up because the people associated that were leading the expeditions and stuff like that the first time around spoke of what they saw. Isn't it interesting that the second expedition to the Arctic was just military?
Mm,
It was
mhm.
literally the freaking fleet going to the Arctic. For what purpose? What did you see the first time around that you needed the full force of the US government military to go
You're
out
right.
there? What are they going to do if it's a
Yeah.
scientific expedition, right? So somebody would have spoken something, and I feel like why that story is even out is because somebody yapped, but there
Mhm.
is still a huge ass cover up. I keep, for some reason, getting a woman in there. There was a mention or a note of a female energy before, and I keep getting this Queen of Wands. I keep getting
Wow,
this
that's so
Queen of
funny. I
Wands.
have this Angel of Strength card, and it's got like the lion, so it's got this fire, and she came out with this Archangel Ariel, second chakra. So in this second chakra, actually both cards have like this yellowy, orangey. It reminds me of like the Earth's core
Yeah,
because it's like holding this little ball of energy like that is in front of her, but they're both like angels. I kind of feel that they're almost like kind of like, yeah, guardians. They live here, they live in the Earth's core or underground or something. And it's like they come up instead of actually coming from space. I'm
makes
sure there's
sense.
ones that still visit from space, but I also think that kind of touching on like this Arctic stuff, I feel like there's something there. It's like this angel of strength. It's like they've always been there. They're
Hmm.
just, obviously trying to stay out of the view of people because they know we don't understand or can't comprehend or whatnot. But it's just very interesting that we were talking about how people might view them as angels, right? And then I
Yeah,
have these
true.
two cards that are clearly angels. Very interesting. And this is not the angel deck. This is my energy oracle. So there's a few angels in
Wow.
here, but not very many. So
Uh,
it's just, and then this angel of strength, like it has this lion, like it can be fierce if it needs to.
mm-hmm.
The overall gist of it is caring and loving and protective, very protective. So it could be protective of the earth itself. It could be protective of us as humans because we're part of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's like a constant, I feel like a very old energy, very constant, very, yeah, loving, like Mother Earth. We did the
Yeah.
other episode about Mother Earth, and it's giving me that loving feeling almost.
It could be that they're sort of, as you said, what I'm also picking up is like being under the Earth's core, and they act as sort of co-conspirators in protecting the Earth's energy. And I feel like almost sometimes some of the visitors may not have the best intentions or want to utilize Earth's resources, like what I was
Mhm.
thinking, saying like the crystals, maybe stuff like that. And at the end of the day, they do play a significant role in the vibration of Earth. So they could be
Mhm.
almost like protecting that space and instigating sort of like shoot away. I would say by extension protecting humans rather
Yeah, that's how
than
I
being
feel about
like
it.
fuck off, you fucked up the Earth.
Right. Yeah. And there is a
Huh.
lot of evidence, like with people that have been in contact and some of the messages, there's a theme there about protecting the earth and taking care of each other and the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, but these guys, yeah, I think with this going back to the military shoot down, I think, yeah, I believe they were really caught off guard and, yeah, kind of maybe freaked out because I don't think they usually try to attack us or, they just, or leave evidence behind too. So
Yeah, make yourself
it was, yeah,
inconspicuous.
kind of like what you said, caught them off guard. Maybe there was like a lot of like protective energy for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have been
I feel like
somebody's first day in the ship.
somebody be like,
They're,
let
they're
me
showing
try
them
and
the
drive
ropes. Oh
this.
yeah.
Be like, oh
And
no,
then
I
maybe
don't
like,
want that.
someone hit the button, like, don't touch that. And then the new person hits the button and
Yeah.
they all turn everyone
It's
to
like
stone.
shit. Now it's a roller coaster ride. Yeah, I feels like there might have been some sort of malfunction or something going on with the system or being distracted in some sort of way to where they would
Hmm.
have allowed themselves to even be caught off guard in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's a little fun one, and I think it's a really nice palate cleanser. after our last episode on Jack the Ripper, which was dark and gloomy and everything that you imagine Victorian London to be. But Alex, would you be so kind to let people know where they can find us online?
Certainly. We are on Instagrams at Divination Detectives. We have our personal Instagrams and Facebook pages, Tarot Shuffle for Gorin, Tarot underscore Shuffle, and I am guiding underscore Tarot. So those are Instagram handles, social media on Facebook. You can find us there. And we'll have all the information here on the show notes. But we're very accessible. If you have any questions, any feedback, we'd love to hear it. And we appreciate you taking the time to listen to us and, support us in this really fun project. So thank you.
And I guess
Until,
until next time.
all right. Bye-bye.